Why did we decide to sell the business without the clients versus with the clients? Anyone looking in would be like, dumb move. Like, sell the business as a whole, sell the client, sell the contract, versus we're basically selling everything besides the client list and the contract.
You know, from the outside looking in, people are like, well, why would you sell it? Like, why would you close it? Like, that seems really crazy.
Essentially managing the expectations, outcomes and results of 450 people across two businesses is quite a lot of stress, strain and responsibility to have. So I wanted to honestly be done with literally half of that. Welcome to the Success School podcast. We are on episode 47. And today we're talking about the lessons from selling our fourth business and what you guys can learn from it. Steph, how are you feeling? And give us your personal update. What is going on?
Feeling really good. Feeling a little bit more focused, a little bit more free. We are talking about selling the business today, the business that we just sold. So if you are thinking about selling a business or you're going through the process of wondering what it might be like to, have an end goal for your business, we're going to definitely be diving into that today. But before we do, a little personal update from me. I have been loving our new hot tub. So if you haven't seen it on social media, we are spending a lot of time in our hot tub. I have shared my ideal week recently a few times publicly, and everyone's like, you spend a lot of time in the hot tub. And you're right, we do. We've been spending a lot of time in our hot tub. And the reason being that it's just such an incredible way for us to connect. We can't work in the hot tub, which is great because you can't have any powered electronics in the.
Steph tries to.
Yeah, I do not. I do not. The only electronics I touch when we're in the hot tub are the music buttons. So. It's been amazing. It's been such a great way. I've been calling it the hot tub timeout machine because it is a really cool opportunity for Tim and I to just connect. It runs on, what are the cycles that it runs on? Like 20 minutes, 30-minute lunch bubbles?
Blocks, yeah.
So the little bubbles come on for like 20 to 30 minutes. And we've just been finding ourselves sitting in there for like 2 or 3 hours some days, just chatting and nutting things out and getting some clarity on our situations that we're experiencing in business or life, or how we might be feeling and what we're processing or anything like that. And it's just been so phenomenal. So I'd say that it's probably the best investment we've ever made from a furniture perspective or like a house item.
Yeah. All the finance people would be like, it's not an investment, it's depreciating.
Well, yes, technically.
Investment in happiness.
It's
guys.
An investment in happiness. It's an investment in joy and connection.
That's what I say about my Lambo. I'm like, it's an investment in happiness. It might not be a smart financial decision. It might be, actually.
Yeah, well, if it brings you more joy, therefore you are more likely to be excited to work, therefore you will make more money.
100%.
Very logical.
Case in point.
Yeah.
Sold.
Convinced.
All right, what's going on with me? So I was scrolling TikTok the other day and doing some research, obviously just for business purposes only. That's all I'm on TikTok for, is business only. So I was like, looking at hooks, looking at copy, looking at how they present, looking at the first 2 seconds, doing all the shit that I normally do on TikTok to make viral content. And I saw a blonde girl, and it was quite a hook because I like blonde girls, and she was well set as well. So I also did enjoy that. And then she was rubbing her face with some ceramic thing, and I was like, what the fuck is going on here? Anyway, she was telling this story about how she's met this guy on Bumble. He's in Italy. She's flying over to Italy to meet this guy. I told Steph this story. She was like, what the fuck are you watching on TikTok? Anyway, she was rubbing her face with something, and I was like, what is the thing? So I commented on it, and she replied, and she was like, it's a gouchoir. Did I say that
I have
correctly?
No idea. I have no idea what the pronunciation is.
So it says gouchoir. I looked it up, and then I bought a gouchoir actually after that. So call me influenced from TikTok. So we were actually in Bali recently as well, and we saw a gouchoir at the massage place. So I bought it, and now I am health. So essentially it provides lymphatic drainage to your face. And makes you look younger. So if you guys are watching on YouTube, please subscribe, and in the comments tell me how much younger I'm looking on video at the moment.
The best thing about the gouchoir that we bought, I don't know if that's how you say it, please feel free to tell us how we're saying it wrong. But the best thing I love about it is that the only one they had available was pink. And so Tim has been rubbing his face basically with pink crystals. And it's been a time. It's been hilarious for us. And just the whole fact that he apparently is on TikTok doing work is even funnier, in my opinion.
I definitely am. So let's get into the topic. A little bit of a caveat here, guys. We say sold, at this point in time, it is closed, and it has been for 24 hours. We've had 5 inquiries to buy all of the assets, including the contact list, all the equipment, the lease, all that type of stuff. I have no doubt by the time this episode airs that it will be officially sold.
Let me give everyone a bit of context because it's probably very clear in our world what's happened, but for everybody else that's listening, they might not be aware yet, and especially this is quite new news for us. So Tim, tell us about the business that you just sold. How long have you been running it? What's it looked like? Give us a bit of an update on this business.
Yeah, so, long story short, I moved back to Perth from running or being a strength coach at the University of Arizona, it's my craft before I was a business coach. And I started a gym in my parents' garage. Literally no plan, just started a gym because someone said it would be a good idea. And eventually it formed into, one of the highest rated gyms in Australia, definitely in WA. And it was an absolute beast, and it was an incredible experience. And we have just closed the doors, sold, got out, and it's been a fucking journey, I must say. It's been a journey. We've learned a lot, and I guess it's kind of made me into the entrepreneur I am today, which the fitness industry is incredible for doing. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, it did. And what, when it comes to, because this is like a baby for you, you've had this is your first real foray into entrepreneurship, and you had this incredible experience over the last 10 years. Surely selling it kind of felt for you, for anyone who's listening who's maybe in their first business, or it kind of feels like your child. And so how did it feel? How's it been feeling to make that decision on to sell? And what's that process look like coming to the decision to sell?
I'd say this has probably been like 3 years coming for us to this, day yesterday. It's probably like a 3-year journey. I'd honestly say like the last week's probably been the worst week of my life, coming to this point, and knew this was going to wrap up. Like how we did it, how we broke it to the members, like the timing, all that stuff has been so up in the air for such a long time now. But honestly, like, how's it been feeling? It feels fucking terrible, to be honest. Like today I feel a little bit of relief, but I've never been through great grief. Like our dog Max died of cancer a couple of years ago, and that was the first like thing around me that I really loved that died. But this feels like a death. It feels like Max has died again. That's kind of how it's been feeling this week for me.
And what made you decide to, so you've got this incredible business, you've got hundreds of clients, you've got, it's making heaps of money, it's well and truly paying for itself, plus some, we're having to disperse profits because there's too much money coming through, and it's a really great business. It's got great systems. You don't work in it a lot. It doesn't, take up too much of your time. Tell me, like, when you have a business going that well, from the outside looking in, people are like, well, why would you sell it? Like, why would you close it? Like, that seems really crazy. What were the kind of leading factors for you in making a decision like this? Yeah,
so 3 main reasons for selling it. I think, like, the first one is, like Steph and our future. We want to start a family. We want to have kids. We've been trying with that. It hasn't been going super successfully. We think, a contributing factor to that is the stress of this. I'm a lot more emotionally invested, or was, in this business than any other business I've ever run, because it was my first baby. So for someone just to be like, don't take it so seriously, it's not that bad, it's not that stressful, they just don't get it because they're not in it, and they don't have the bias and the history that I do with it. So it's quite stressful, and with that stress comes less chance of having kids and conceiving and all the things. So I'd say, like, the stress reduction of it would be the first thing. The second reason would be the opportunity cost. So, if you've listened to this podcast before, Steph and I are doing pretty well. Like, we make no secret of that on our social media as well. But for us to do even better and change more lives and have more of an impact in the world, like, my focus needs to be on Success School as well. So taking 50% of my focus from the gym to Successful is going to change astronomically more lives than it would be not. So yeah, the second one was the opportunity cost. And then the third one was just essentially managing the expectations, outcomes, and results of, 450 people across 2 businesses is quite a lot of stress, strain, and responsibility to have. So I wanted to honestly be done with literally half of that, or like, a bit less than half, but still like a lot of people. And you can imagine every single person has questions, queries, texts, complaints, issues, grievances, problems with other people, and it just gets, it's a lot to hold. So if you think about, holding the responsibility of 450 people, whether that's meant or not, it's still a big thing. Have I missed anything?
No, for me, like, from the outside looking in, and and really being on the inside also, because even though it was Tim's baby and he did have this business, when I met him, we've definitely both worked on growing it over the last few years. And so, and I'm part of the community, and I'm part of the, what makes the fabric of Helix what it is. And so I do feel part of it, even though it has been mostly Tim's decision, and the decision was always going to lie in Tim's court. But for me, from the outside looking in, the opportunity cost was the biggest part. It just it no longer made sense. The only reason that we would keep Helix the way that it was without massively investing and changing things, which is what we'd need to do if we wanted to take it to the next level, you have to do like a cost benefit analysis on these sorts of things. And so, we can pump in the gym probably needed, I'd probably say at least another 50K in, potentially things that we may have looked to do if we were to keep it to get it to where we wanted to go. It's probably a bit of a rebrand, train new coaches and bring them in, run bigger and better community events. Honestly, I think that Tim would have had to work in it for quite some time to get it where it needed to be able to go to the next level that was going to make it a really financial heck yes for us. And when we looked at all of these things and we looked at how much additional income the gym could bring in, we could make that in Success School in a month. And so, it's just one of those things that, like, with Tim's 100, like, Tim's a genius and super smart, very driven. As soon as he's got his focus on something, it happens, and it happens really quickly. And I just know that our clients in Success School, and I know that our business, our coaching business, with both of our minds on it, is just we're really gonna have the impact and change the amount of lives that we want to change really quickly. And so for me, having Tim's 100% focus on the coaching business has been a driving factor for me to know that it was the right decision for us.
Yeah, Steph, I've got a question for you. So why did we decide to sell the business without the clients versus with the clients? Because, from the outset, anyone looking in would be like, dumb move. Like, sell the business as a whole, sell the clients, sell the contracts, sell all that shit, versus we're basically selling everything besides the client list and the contract. So, run us through from your point of view, like, why that decision was made.
Yeah, so we decided to effectively close the business rather than sell it. Like Tim said, we kind of knew in our heart of hearts, we kind of knew in our gut instinct, in our logical mind and our emotional mind, that the minute we announced that we'd shut the gym down, we would have people come out and offer to buy it from us. And which has happened, and I think we've had 5 offers hit the table. And like I said, by the time that this episode goes live, I'm sure that a deal will have been done. And so for us, the reason that we decided to close it rather than sell it, we actually had multiple buyers lined up that were interested in buying the gym. The problem was that one of them wasn't a values fit for our community, and we didn't feel comfortable handing it over, because we just didn't think that we love and value and cherish our community that we built so much that we didn't want to just roll their contracts into somebody who was going to completely change everything for them. And then, they're stuck with a notice with, 4 weeks notice in a contract. That just didn't feel good for us to do that. The second reason was because letting everyone out of their contracts felt better, honestly, like letting our clients make the choice for themselves. We knew that we'd probably sell the facility. We knew that another gym would come in probably, because it's set up that way, of course. We have all the racks, we have all the equipment, we have all the speakers, we have all the, the council approvals, the fobs down in the door. Like, it's set up like a really incredible gym. And so we knew that another gym would eventually come in there, and then it gets to be our client's choice where they want to train, rather than feeling like they're being locked in. And we just think that it was time to come full circle with the brand as well. We haven't sold the brand. We haven't sold any of the brand assets. We haven't sold any of the IP or systems or knowledge or any of the things that come with running the gym. And at some stage, I think maybe you will package some of that stuff up and potentially sell it separately, kind of maybe a gym in a box sort of thing at some point. That could be something that we look to do. But for right now, it was also a time thing, was probably the last thing, was to sell a business. There's a lot of, to find a buyer, there's a lot of red tape. There's a lot of, if you've ever sold a business, contracts and letters of offer and, asset lists and liability lists. And like, it's a big thing for somebody to think about taking on. And so, every time we were lining things up with a buyer, it was always looking like a 6 to 12 month, transition period. And Tim and I we were done. It was time, and we were done. And by shutting it down and closing it, it got to be our choice and we got to do it on our timeline, which was really awesome. And we knew in our heart of hearts that as soon as we shut it, people would come out of the woodworks and offer to buy the facility, and that has happened. So
yeah, I'll just put a bow on that. And I built the Helix brand from day dot and day zero, and it felt right for me to kill the brand and take it to the grave with me. It didn't feel right for someone else to take it, change it, do what they want to do, and potentially ruin the brand rep. And I know that's such a minor thing from the outside, and people would say whatever, but I guess once you've built something and it has cred and it's well known, and we travel around the world and people know the brand and they know the name and they know it everywhere, and for someone else to come in and take that over and potentially not do the right thing wasn't a good fit for me personally.
So tell me, how did you tell the clients? Because this was, and I think this is just interesting for other people to listen to, because if you're ever considering selling, guys, the hardest part of selling a business is having to let people know. And we sold multiple businesses now, often when you sell a business, you might fire everybody because the new company might not take on their contracts. So there's people you have to let down, there's clients you have to let down. Everyone's always disappointed when you sell or close a business. It's super rare that the clients that have learnt to love you are going to be stoked with someone else coming in. So being in it's such a beautiful community, and because we see each other every day, it's a really tight knit community. How did you make the decision on how to tell them, and how did you feel through that process?
Yeah, so it kind of became a little bit more, I'd say probably 10 days ago or something, we made the decision. Initially, we were going to give it 6 weeks, which is heaps. And then Steph was like, why 6 weeks? And I was like, fucking no idea why 6 weeks.
Yeah, it was end of financial year.
Pie in the sky type thing.
Yeah.
And then we said 2 weeks. And then I just thought to myself, imagine telling someone 2 weeks this thing. A lot of my clients have been there 5-6 years, and you're taking something away. Imagine that 2 weeks would be crying, emotional, there'd be attendance stuff. It shit would just be.
Attendance would drop. Yeah.
Attendance would drop, team, you got to, and then everyone starts taking sick days, and then I've just got a full kerfuffle on my hands. So we kind of just ended up with, we were going to give them 3 days notice, tell them on Thursday, close on Saturday. Then it went to 2. Then we went Friday, and then I announced it. And on Friday morning, I woke up and I was having severe panic attacks about it, almost to the fact that I didn't want to do it. And then I was purposely telling my friends during the week that I was going to do it, and it was final. So I was backed into a corner and I couldn't back out. And so it was purposeful that I was doing this. And then I scheduled the posts in the groups and the emails and all the shit. And I had written everything out for weeks in advance. Honestly, I'd gone and rewritten the post over and over and over. But honestly, when I say it was the worst week of my life, I'm not even kidding. It has been a torrid week to go through this. There's so many mixed emotions, happy, sad, angry, scared. I feel so bad that I've let so many people down. It's been such a emotional roller coaster. But eventually, we gave everyone 2 days notice, which is fine, ended all the contracts. So no one was left in the lurch. And then, we had a few painful, so we refunded them, and, we did the right thing by the clients. But honestly, 2 days notice was good, and doing it on a Friday was good. It's kind of when you make someone redundant, you do it on a Friday because they have the weekend to process it.
And what would you say, for anyone listening, guys, all of you have businesses, and I think there's probably a couple of key lessons that we wanted you guys, the reason we wanted to do this episode is because we do get asked a lot about this. We've been asked already so many times, why did you close it versus sell it? What are you going to do with the contracts? What are you going to do with the client list? What will you do with the social media? What will you do with that? What about all the systems you built? What about this? What about that? So we just thought we'd kind of wrap it up in a bow here for you guys. But what can business owners learn? If someone's listening to this podcast right now and they have a business, which I'm sure everyone does, what are some key takeaways from this experience for you? Would you want to share with them?
Yeah, I'll go through the first two, and Steph can go through the other two. But I think the first one is have an exit plan. I built this business with no exit plan. I had no idea what it was going to be or become. I had the mission. I wanted to change 1,000 lives with movement, mindset, wellness, and nutrition. Mission accomplished. And then there was no real kind of exit plan when we got to X level I would sell or what would happen with it. And it just ended up being this thing that I just ran over and over and over again for years and years and years, even though the mission was accomplished, even though it was making great money, even though it was highly profitable, even though it was minimal work, but the stress was also there. So my thing to you is, if you're listening to this podcast, you probably have a business, so you're somewhat successful already. But Like, what does that look like in 5 or 10 years? What about when your circumstances change? What happens with your family? What happens if you have a divorce, or you get a new boyfriend, or you move country, or like, the economy changes, or COVID 2.0? It's like, we get so stuck in the now in business, and we get so stuck in the like what's happening in this exact moment that we have no like eye on the future. So if anything, like the number one lesson for you for listening to this is like, what's your exit plan? What does that look like? What does it look like for your family? And then just have that exit plan, and honestly, like, stick to it. I think is a good thing, because like businesses don't really run forever. No one stays in businesses forever. So like, what are you going to do when it finishes?
Yeah. No one tells you that. Like the first time I came to selling my first business, I never started it planning to sell it. And then one day the thought just dropped in, like, I think you're done. And so over time, that thought grows stronger, and it starts to gain some momentum. And then all of a sudden you're like, I'm done with this. And then, for us, like, COVID hit. And so, it was just time. And no one ever prepares you for that decision to be made, but you will at some point have like, I think I've heard that like, there's only like one person in the world who's still in the first business that they created, and it's Jeff Bezos. I can't believe that he actually created Amazon as his first business. Yeah. But the truth is that if you look at any highly successful entrepreneur, they have a string of businesses behind them, like a huge string of businesses behind them. Like, your first business is probably not going to be your last business, and that's okay. And just making it an intention with every single like time. Like, we've been asked many times, like, what will we do with Successful? And honestly, we don't fully know, but we certainly are setting it up to be an asset that could be for sale if ever we decided to go down that road. We don't know if we will, but we would definitely hate for all of this work to go to waste without, being able to generate something on the back end of it. We've seen people sell coaching programs really effectively. And so we don't know exactly that that's what we do, but we're definitely setting things up so that if that was the case, and if we ever got to a point where maybe that's what we'd be able to do. And I think that every single person needs to have a think about that. Would you just shut it down? Would you sell it to somebody else? Would you give it to somebody else? God, so many people I know have been given businesses by people who just wanted out, who just wanted to be done with it. And so you've just got to have a, like, if things changed and if I no longer wanted to do this, what would be my plan? And just kind of having that thought process, I think, will help you to approach it with a lot more confidence when the time comes.
Point 2 is it's not really about everyone else, it's about you. So I know, like, we do build businesses for clients, and, we build it to get results and have, impact and all those types of things. But I'd say, at the end of the day, like, our business is there to serve you, not anyone else. So I think the point, like, probably in the last 6 months, especially my gym, was less about me, my happiness, what I wanted, and more about everyone else. And I felt myself running this business for everyone else, everyone around me, the clients, etc. Where, like, you get that from a point of view, but if it no longer brings you like the same light and joy and happiness that it used to, then it might be time to move on. I always say this, but like, the most important commodity that you have in entrepreneurship and business is energy. It's not time, it's not money, it's energy. And if you have high energy for something, you'll create magic. And I know for me, when I have high energy, I bring magic to everything I do. And that is evident. Every business I've ever been in, I've brought amazing magic. If you've been in the room with me, you can feel it. Like, there's an energy that comes with it, especially if I'm lit up about a project. And this is not a like blow steam up my ass. It's the reality of the situation. So as the founder, as the entrepreneur, you need to run a business for you as well as your clients. And if that changes, then you need to address the feelings and thoughts and reassess where you're at. It's not just cut and run as soon as the energy is down a little bit. It's more of a long-term approach, and zoom out 24 months, 12 months is like, how's my energy? Does something need to change? Does the business need to change? Does my direction need to change? I would just really encourage yourself to think about you.
And just on that, Tim and I have been making the decision to sell this business or shut it down for the last 3 years. So the energy has been in and out, and it's been waning, and it's been slowly getting less and less, and he's been less and less excited about it over the last 3 years. And, every time we've tried to fix things so that we could get more energy back in place, like, what if we did this? And what if we removed you completely? And then what if we added you in this section? And then why don't we try doing this? And how can we get you more excited again? And so we tried everything to get the energy back, but it lost its spark. And so at the end of the day, like, that's how we knew it was time. I think that for me, the last 2 points, and I'll run through these pretty quickly, but at the end of the day, guys, everything has its time limit. Like I just said, everything has a time. It has has a beginning must have an ending. And so everything is going to have its time. And you just never know when that time is going to be. And I think that's been such a profound takeaway for us. Like, even though we were planning to sell this thing over the last kind of 3 years and we kind of knew that that was the eventual conclusion of it, it was very sudden the way that this dropped in over the last couple of weeks. And so you just don't realize, you know, when that time is going to come, but also knowing that it's okay when that time comes, and not to punish yourself, because you are going to probably have to let a lot of people down to make this decision for you. But at the end of the day, you got into business for you. So you always end up having to do what is right for you no matter what. And please know, and even we had beautiful messages from people saying that Tim's given them a lot of permission to continue to, you know, focus on and go down the paths that he loves. So and it gives a lot of other people permission to do the same thing.
I just want to tell a little bit of a story about like the timing and all that stuff. I know we've been going on a little bit long about this, but you know, last year in November, we had an investor fly over from over East and try to buy a Helix from me. Multi-six-figure deal, great deal. We would have walked away very happy. And I scuppered the deal. Like, I honestly scuppered the deal, put us in like legal strife because I wasn't ready. And it wasn't the time. And that was only 6 months ago. So in that 6 month period, although we have been thinking about selling it for a few years now, I just wasn't ready. But when it's time, and you'll know the time.
And then the last thing, guys, for us, and if you listen to our podcast, if you're part of our community, if you are in Success School, the biggest one, the major one, the most important lesson that you need to hear from this lesson is, as always, master of one. So you can be the jack of all trades and the master of none, or you can be the master of one. No one wants to go to a GP to have brain surgery. You want to go to the specialist. You want to go to the best specialist. You'll be on a wait list. You're happy to pay extra. You will go, you know, uninsured. You will find the ways to make the money so that you can get the support that you need. When you are a specialist at something, you are able to charge more, do more, you know, get better known, create cult followings, you know, do it better, become, you know, absolutely so in demand because you are so nichely specialized in the thing that you do that everyone's talking about the thing that you do. And when we go master of one, it means that we become the expert at the thing that you do and everyone knows you for and comes to you for. And it is time for Tim to finally step into the master of one. You know, when it comes to business coaching, he's a phenomenal coach, and anyone who's in our community will know that. But also, guys, like when you have split focus, I think Tim's favorite saying is chase two rabbits, get none. When you have split focus and you're trying to chase two businesses, you know, both of them are only getting 50%. And at the end of the day, like, our clients in Success School and our clients at Helix also deserve 100%, which is why we've decided to, you know, shut that one down and focus 110% on Success School. So you can, if you're in Success School, get ready. It's going to be freaking exciting. It's going to be a lot of cool stuff happening. And if you're not, get ready to like buckle in and witness the journey, because it is going to be really, really big. I think the later half of this year is going to be huge for us. Last but not least, Tim, what's the plan now?
Yeah, so full-time business coach. Feels so weird saying that. I remember like we flew back from Bali last week and the customs declaration was like, what's your occupation? And I was like, business coach? It feels so fucking weird to say that.
It does.
But yeah, anyone that knows me personally knows like I don't walk, I sprint. I sprint everywhere and I sprint in business. So I'm excited for this next journey and chapter with Steph. And like, I guess we are finally the epitome of master of one. We have one thing, one product, one focus, one goal. One family, united. Yeah,
united for life. No, we're so excited. And yeah, it's been a big journey. Thank you guys for coming on the journey with us. Thank you for listening to this podcast. We, you know, really hope that you got something out of that. But if I could recap on anything, it would be have a solid exit plan. Know that you have to be in business for you, not just for your clients, and it has to suit you and your lifestyle at some level. Everything has a time limit. And last but not least, you know, if you can put all your focus into one thing, it's going to grow 10 times faster than having split focus.
All right, guys, if you got some value from this episode, don't forget to follow the show. If you're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever the heck you are, guys, follow the show. And I'm going to say it once on this podcast, and Steph has banned me from saying it, but don't be a hoe.
Share the show.
Share the show. Thanks, guys.
See you guys.